So this project is to try and fix a pencil cup that I got for my wife, and as you can see, it's very wobbly, especially with the heavy things she has. The reason for that, there's those rubber feet, and when it's off axis for that, it tends to be tilted. So my plan is to try and sink it down into a block of wood and see if a wider base helps with it. So first I gotta measure it, and then it turns out it is 3 5/32. So I make an initial circle and try and figure out where the measurement's actually supposed to be, because of course just drawing on something like that's not always accurate. And then I get my circle cutting jig, and after a bit of work and a couple tries, I got the circle cut out so it's the correct size. So that works pretty good. I also noticed that my cross-slide vise is wobbly, which is annoying. I'll have to fix that later. So first I got to take out the majority of the wood. So I was able to do that with a chisel, and that worked out pretty good. And it's just a piece of plywood that I'm using, but it should be fine for a test. It should probably be fine for something that works fine too. I just have to make sure that it looks nice enough. Once I get the majority of the wood out, I got my little dremel with the stewmac plunge router and put a 1/8 inch upcut router bit and just went back and forth and evened out the bottom. It didn't need to be the entire depth the whole way across. There was some spots where it was a little deeper with the chisel, but this got it all evened out, so that worked good. Next, I drew a larger circle around it and then cut it out on the bandsaw, with the goal of once it gets all cut out, then I can take the resulting circle and run it on the drum sander, and that worked pretty good. I really do like this drum sander setup. It's one of those 12-inch Harbor Freight ones with I think a 60 or 80 grit, probably 60 grit, and it works really nice for rough sanding. Clean that up, and then start out with an 80 grit sandpaper and get that all smoothed off. And it took a little bit of work because obviously with something that rough, you don't want to tilt the sandpaper, because then you'll have a off angle spot. But I was able to get it going, and then once I got it mostly smoothed out, I went to 220 grit to finish it up, and it worked pretty well. Again, it took a bit, and then just break the edges, and that worked pretty good. And I'm not taking a ton of time for finishing, just get it nice and smooth. That fits in. I figure, all right, we'll use hot glue. So 3 spots of a big blob of hot glue, and then push the cup down in and get it evened out, and that should be enough. The reason for this is twofold. One, I could use super glue and stuff, but hot glue is easy enough to take back off. If it's, it doesn't work, I don't ruin the cup. And it should be sturdy enough to actually hold it, and you can see that it definitely does not tilt with using the heavy pieces now, unlike before. So I think that's going to work really nice. And then here I'm just using the Renaissance paste wax. Again, I don't, supposedly you can just use this by itself. It's just going to sit on the table. It's not going to be handled a whole lot. It's already smooth. So I think this should be fine. And some people just use this as their only finishing step since it's a hard wax. So this will be my first time trying it just by itself on a wood project, and it came out really nice. So there you go. Now when you tilt it, as you saw, the extra width is enough to keep it from flopping. I do think the original problem was just the 3 little rubber dots, and depending on where that was, it tilted a lot more. But I think I should work fine.